In this last video on this section, we are going to perform both addition and subtraction with either like or non-like denominators. So first we need to check for common denominators and then combine the rational expressions. This first one is 7 over 6x squared plus 2 over 9x. We need to find an LCD, which will be 3 times 3 times 2 times x, meaning we need to build up the first fraction so that it has another 3, and the second fraction needs to be built up so that it has an x squared and a 2. So we would give the second fraction a 2x and a 2x in the numerator and denominator. This will give me a 21 plus 4x all over 18x squared. Now you can double check that here. 9 times 2 is 18, x times x is x squared. If you get all your factors in the first term and the factors in the second term to match the LCD, then your denominator will be the LCD. Then we just finish. It's done. It's not a function, so we don't have to worry about the domain. Let's take a look at the next one. We have an x plus 1, an x squared minus 1, and an x minus 1 in the denominators. So this middle fraction has an x plus 1 times an x minus 1 as its binomials. The first fraction needs an x minus 1. The middle fraction doesn't need any more factors. And the last fraction needs an x plus 1 in the numerator and denominator. Now that we have all matching denominators, we can rewrite this as x plus 1 times x minus 1 in the denominator. In the numerator, we're going to have to distribute those terms, or the factor, the coefficient, the number in front, 4, to each term inside the binomials. So we would have a 4x minus 4 plus x plus 2 plus, and now I'm going to distribute that 3 to the binomial, so plus 3x plus 3. Now combining like terms, I have 4x, x, and 3x, so that'll be 8x, and then negative 4 plus 2 plus 3 is going to be 1 plus 1 all over x plus 1 times x minus 1. Let's take a look at the next expression. We have a squared over a minus b plus b squared over b minus a. I'm going to rearrange the b minus a by factoring out a negative 1. This will give me a negative b plus a. Notice that if I rearrange the order, it will be exactly like the first one. I'm going to bring that negative up between the two fractions and rewrite it. A squared minus b squared all over a minus b. Now if I wanted to factor the numerator, I could do that. This is a difference of two squares, so I can have an a plus b factor and an a minus b factor, and then a minus b in the denominator as well. And hey, that's great, because now I can reduce out a common factor of a minus b, and my final answer is a plus b. That simplified nicely. Let's take a look at C here. We have 5 over x plus 2 minus 3 over x minus 4. The denominators do not match at all, so I'm going to build the first one up by x minus 4 over x minus 4 as a multiplication fraction equal to 1, and the other one by x plus 2 over x plus 2. When I do that, I get 5 distributed and 3 distributed, and we could think of this as a minus 3 if we went like this. If we added instead of subtracted and brought the negative up, then it would make it one less step. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I have 5 times x minus 20 minus 3x minus 6 all over x plus 2 times x minus 4. If I combine like terms, I'll have 2x minus 26 and my denominator is x plus 2 times x minus 4. Notice that even if I were to factor a 2 out, I would have, in the numerator, I'd have 2 times x minus 13, and that's not going to reduce with anything in the denominator. So we're done. These last two are going to take a little bit more work because the denominators are trinomials, so we're likely going to have to factor them. So let's just do that now. We'll have a 2x, and 5 is prime, so let's see here. 10 and 1, that won't work, so maybe a 5 and a 1. So 2x minus 5 and an x minus 1. This would give me an outer of negative 2x and an inner of negative 5x, so that would work. The other one is a 2x squared minus x minus 10. I know I'll need a 2x and an x for my leading terms in the binomials. Negative 10 would be 2 and 5. So let's see here. If I put a 2 here, then my outer would be a 4 and 5, so that would give me a difference of 1. So that will work. And I need my bigger number to be negative, so 5 will be negative and 2 will be positive. So my LCD for this will be 2x minus 5, x minus 1, and x plus 2. Those are my 3 factors. So the first term will be, or the first fraction, will need to be built up by an x plus 2, and the second fraction will be built up by an x minus 1. This will give me 8 times x plus 2 over 2x minus 5 times x minus 1 times x plus 2 plus, and then the second one needs an x minus 1. So I'll have 3x plus 2 times x minus 1 all over the LCD again. Now don't reduce those out. That's the whole point of putting them in there, is that you want the denominators to match. So leave them in there. Now we're going to distribute and FOIL. I'll have an 8x plus 16 plus 3x squared, so negative x minus 2. Don't get this LCD confused with what I'm doing here. And then in the denominator, just the LCD, 2x minus 5, x minus 1, and x plus 2. Combining like terms, I have 3x squared plus 7x plus 14 in the numerator. For this last one, I'd like you to try it on your own. Here is the question completely worked out. You're welcome to pause the video and see if you have any questions about it. If your simplified expression does not look like the one here.